Hello humans, it's Minky here, aka the Depro Mama. Today's video is about the relationship between bullying, depression, and suicide in the wake of Lufuno's tragic passing due to bullying. So a lot of people will say, no, but you can't blame the bully. She's the one who decided to take her own life. But the crucial thing or the crucial questions they're not asking is, how long has the bullying been going on? How long and another one of my favorites is, not all kids are that strong to withstand bullying. Hi, can I tell you something? When someone gets to a point where they consider suicide, even just suicide ideation, it's when they feel like they've been strong for way too long. And this is coming from someone who considered suicide as a teenager because of bullying. I don't think people understand just how deeply and vast bullying is. Just how deeply it affects one and how vast it is. So let's go through my own bullying experiences. Firstly, for me, it was verbal. My first experiences of bullying were verbal, and they came from my own cousins. They would say things like, oh, you're so fat. Which means you're as fat as a pig that died out in the garden. I don't know if you know what happens to something that dies where it's hot. Well, they probably said it in winter too, but in my head it was like, okay, if something dies and it's out there in the heat and it starts to decompose, it swells up. So basically, not only am I as fat as a pig, I'm as fat as a pig that's swollen up. So yeah, that hurts a lot, guys. And I have gotten to a point where I was really, I won't say skinny. I'm not built to be skinny. Like, I've got chunky legs, thighs, and a butt. I have not built to be skinny, but I have been very small. But whenever I looked at myself, I've always been disgusted at how fat I am. Everyone who knows me knows I am forever complaining about my weight. I'm forever trying to lose weight. It's never acceptable to me to be the size I am. Okay, fine. The roots were at home, but you go out into the world. There was a point where they called me Fohloza. The music video of Fohloza was this huge lady. And that became my name. And it used to make me cry. They enjoyed making me cry at school. This is a boarding school. They enjoyed making me cry. They'd be like, oh, you're so fat, you're so fat. Oh, Fohloza. And I remember crying to one of my uncles, Zwelenkosi. And he's like, yo, next time, velu jive. And I did it. Next time they saw me, they were singing Fohloza and expecting tears. What did I do? I danced. And boy, can I get down. I danced, and they were so disappointed. Only one of them laughed and like was actually impressed with it. This was older boys, older girls, a lot of people. Like, when I think back to my schooling career, there are very few people who were not mean. And to a child, that just makes you feel like you're not good enough. You're not good enough for the world. So for me, it was my weight and the fact that I had a young mom who didn't have money, as much money as the other parents had. But that never really bothered me that much, because my mom showed up, man. My mom did the things that the other parents were doing. Granted, we didn't have a nice car, we didn't have our own house, whatever, But honey, I was in the same school as you with your married parents, and that's how I processed it in my head back then. That okay, fine, my mom doesn't have money, but I'm in the same school as you. We have clothes, we dress. If there's a series day, whatever, I come up looking nice. So that part never bothered me that much. But to bother me about something I have no control over, that really hurt. So now I can imagine taking it to this kid who, first of all, she has no control over his complexion. She has no control over how she looks, and she's being bullied about her looks. Is anyone considering how long that has been going on? So already in the brain, it's setting a tone of, I'm not good enough, but I will fight to be accepted. Like I saw the comment where she said, you're telling me I'm not pretty as if you are. We're all beautiful in different ways. And for a child that young to be using lines like that, it has to click somewhere in an adult's mind that this child has been going through it, man. She's been going through it, that she has to self-motivate to that level. I'm not saying self-motivation is not necessary. It definitely is. But, I mean, at 15, you shouldn't be worried about what deems a person beautiful or not. It shouldn't be that big a deal how you look. And then you have to consider other traumas, right? So I'm focusing on that one trauma where you're being bullied about your appearance. We don't know what else she was being bullied about. We don't know what other, like, being a teenager is just tough in general. It is tough in general. I remember people would say to me, I think I'm smart because my friend is always number one. And I think I'm smart because I'm in the buff class. And my rebut would be like, that's exactly what it means. I changed schools in high school, and you do not understand how happy I was to just blend, to not be one of the special kids, the outstanding performers without even trying, or that thing just because you speak confidently, you're just confident in your, what can I say, surfing through school and not struggling. You're just surfing by and you're just like, I was that kid, I'd fall asleep in class, come test time, out pass. I was disruptive at prep, but I'd pass. And you would hear snarky comments about that. You think you're so smart, you think you're so that. And I don't understand what that had to do with anything. We would be like, I sucked at games. I sucked at physical games. I sucked at sports. I sucked. But I did it because I wanted to. I would play soccer. I'd do, and the only place I didn't suck was in water, until I changed schools and tried water polo, and I sucked at that as well. But you know what? I showed up until I got sick and I had to stop. But I showed up, like I participated. And I think sometimes people hated that. Like, you suck at this, but you're gonna participate anyway. And people say things about that too, and they're not realizing the deep scars that they're cutting, like, into you. It's really deep. It's intense. And it just hurts to hear comments where people will say getting to a place of contemplating suicide means you haven't been strong, or you're not strong, you can't take it. But each trauma rewires you somehow. And what I've picked up is people are not aware of the physiological changes that occur in your brain when you're suffering from depression. Guys, depression is medical. A lot of people are making it now spiritual. One guy even said it's demonic, it's a demon. Sort of like it's a demon that claims your life, or you just give in to the demon and then you kill yourself, you murder yourself per se. Another person said it's spiritual contracts that have been there since before you were born. Why can't we just face the reality that it's medical, right? So you go through a whole bunch of traumas, right? They make certain lights go off every time you experience something similar to that. So here's the thing about the brain. There are nerves in the brain, right? So just like electricity, the red wire is supposed to stay, transmitting in the insulation of the red wire, right? Those tiny copper cables are moving within the insulation of the red wire. Then there's green and there's yellow. Or is it blue and yellow? Yeah, but you get the gist. Let's just use green and yellow. So there's red, green, yellow, right? And they're traveling in that there's that synergy. So over time, as there's lots of traumas, so say now this wire keeps taking a hit, or the wire gets bent too much, the cable, the complete cable gets bent too much, or it gets twisted, whatever. Those insulations, those insulating cables get thinner, right? They keep wearing. There's wearing that's happening there. And eventually, it doesn't have to be something as big as what's been causing the wear and tear in the wire. It could just be a small thing, and the wires in the other cables start to mix. Say red mixes with yellow, or yellow mixes with green, or they all just twist. What will happen? Short circuit. It's a short circuit where it's just like, I cannot carry on anymore. I cannot. Same way if you overload a plug at home. So if a plug short circuits in the house, whether it bursts or whether it trips the main switch, nobody says, oh, the wiring wasn't strong enough. It makes sense. You can see it. It's there. Too many plugs in one socket, right? Too many plugs in one socket. But unfortunately, with the brain, we can't see everything that's overloaded in there. We cannot see it. So when a person gets to a point where they have either a mental breakdown, or they commit suicide or attempt suicide, it is because they got to a point where they short-circuited, or the plug was just like, you know what, this is not on, and poof, it burst. And the crucial thing is that we need to educate people on the signs and symptoms of depression. Once again, there's a difference between being depressed and suffering from depression. Being depressed is sadness. Everybody goes through sadness. Everybody goes through sadness, through some despondence, through feeling like, oh, woe is me, life sucks. But they are able to snap out of it with little to no intervention. Suffering from depression is when this person cannot find it in themselves to bring themselves out of that. Or like those little motivational speeches from loved ones or whomever cannot bring them out of that. That's when it tells you that, okay, this is no longer superficial. So I don't mean superficial in that it's fake. I mean superficial is actually a deep term. I mean deeper word. So superficial is like if you fall and you get a scrape, right? That's a superficial wound. You know, it's not deep. It won't take much to heal it. But say you suffer the same fall and it cuts through layers, it gushes through layers of your skin, then that's no longer a superficial wound. That's something that may need stitches. So that's the difference here. So where it's a case of you can't talk a person out of the sadness. It's not a superficial or rather a situation that's passing through. It's major. And that is when we see that there's need for medical intervention. And guys, there's myriads of types of medication for health issues, mental health issues. You get sedatives, you get benzos, you get, okay, I think the medication stuff is a story for another day, but there is a lot of medication. It comes in different intensities as well. So we need to be able to spot where someone needs help. The first step would be to take them to a GP. GPs can sometimes help by recommending something just to test it out and see that this person responds or not. If they see that the problem is bigger, they will refer you to a psychiatrist. But when you come and you're exhibiting signs of depression, they're going to suggest therapy. There is therapy, there's free therapy that the government offers. I will add the information. There's a you can call in. There are centers around. You can find out if there's a pro bono center somewhere near you if you do not have the means to pay for therapy. There are lots of psychologists everywhere, guys. There are also nurse practitioners that choose to specialize in mental health. So there is help. The crucial message here is that people should know that there is help. And children should not be shunned. Your child should not feel that if they come to you and say, "Mom, I think I'm suffering from depression," that they met with hostility. It is not a reflection on your parenting. It is not saying that you have failed as a parent. It just says your child needs something you may have not been exposed to before. So please do learn about because in this day and age with the internet, children will be more prone to suffering from these things, whether it be anxiety, whether it be depression. They will suffer from these things because back in our day, we could escape it. We could escape it, you know, at school you have bullies, you're gonna go home and get a break. Unless you're in boarding school. For example, for myself, I never felt like I could escape it. And as a result, um, I had suicidal thoughts from as young as 14. The first time I tried it, I was 15, and I tried it in the bathroom at um at hostel. I later found out that my strategy was incorrect, and I'm grateful for that because I'm here to tell the tale, and I got a chance to build my own life and have children and have. Sorry, I thought my camera went off for a minute there. Yes, I had a chance to build my own life and have children and have a lot of fulfilling things, which still don't take away the mental illness. It's just, it's an illness. It's like saying just because you have a good life, your heart disease is gonna vanish. Nay, 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 nay. And I would like to plead with the people to stop spreading this negativity about depression. People will be like, you're depressed because you're jealous of people, or you're depressed because a whole lot of stigmatizing statements. And it's so sad because you are, it is bullying as well. You may not realizing it, you may not realize it, but those statements are crippling. Say now someone is not as comfortable about the reality of something they battle with as a minky, for example, and they come across statements like that. What should happen? So it's further fueling the negativity of having to deal with that already. So we need to educate ourselves a bit more so that we can spot people who are suffering around us, and so that we can help, so that our children can feel comfortable to speak when they have problems. Going back to this bullying thing, please make it a safe space for your children to talk to you. I know not all parents are fans of children who talk a lot or who tattle, right? But okay, fine. The way I understand tattling is, Mom, so and so did this. Mom, she did it again. Mom, she's pulling my hair. Mom. That's so. If tattling means something else, please educate me as well. But yeah, I hate that thing of you know, that my child must come to me. And I'm grateful that I've created that environment because recently she had a bully. My daughter is only 4 years old and she had a bully at creche. This child would spit on her, this child would hit her, this child would pull her hair, all of those things. And because she knows that when she comes home, it is a safe space, she told me. And she would keep, so she reports a whole lot of things. Oh, mommy, so and I, we swapped dreams. So and I. So it's just basically her telling me about the day. So initially, I didn't even single out the child's name who's bothering my child. So one day at pickup, I was speaking to her teacher, one of her teachers. I said to her, there seems to be, I asked her, I'm like, how does my child relate with other kids? She said, no, she relates really well. She's really great with other kids. She's got lots of friends, etc., etc. And then I said, oh, okay, because I keep getting reports about a boy who's bullying, or who seems to be bullying her. The teacher immediately knew who I was talking about. And then she said, no, this boy has been a problem. He's actually a problem with many other kids. So we have spoken to the management of the school. However, you can also speak to management so that they know that children are reporting at home. Granted, I went to them. I was happy to go. I spoke to the owner of the crèche initially. The principal then contacted me, and guys, you won't believe it. It was just a reflection of what is happening at home, where this child had the audacity to hit the teacher as well. This child had the audacity to be punished. During punishment, be laughing, ha 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 ha, I know I'm being naughty, And the teacher wanted to show me, she's like, my bruises just healed. This child was hitting me. She's like, imagine at my grown age being hit by a 4-year-old. And the school took measures. Why? Because I stood up as a parent, and I could do so because I created, or rather, we created a safe space for our daughter at home to be able to report. So at some point, as a parent or a caregiver, you need to put aside your own preferences, where, yeah, we'd all prefer for our children not to whine or not to always be reporting, but you could be saving them from something bigger, because they are going to be in that crèche for 2 more years. And what then if this child had continued bullying my child for the remainder of this year and next year? That's already causing some wear and tear in her wires. So yes, that is something I deeply urge parents and caregivers to do. Please start by creating a safe space for your children to open up, and that way you are able to pick up the signs earlier on. If they feel safe, even when the beginning stages of suicide ideation, you will pick it up. Or when you can see that, okay, my child is going deep in it now, my child is going sinking. Because for me, I never even knew that there were hospitals that specialize in mental illness. I was told by my own mother, where she could see that, okay, my child is not resurfacing now, and this is deep, it's very deep. And she told me that, please search for a wellness hospital near you and see if your doctors won't refer you, so that you can get help. And she even said, if doctors don't refer you, you don't need, it's actually a place where you don't need a script, or you don't need a referral. You can just walk into the reception and say, I feel like I'm about to kill myself, and they will book you in. So yeah, there is help, and please use it. Thank you. Bye.